Mia and Nico, desperate for a way out of the hellish situation they find themselves in, decide that they must leave Spain. Their only hope lies in Ireland, one of the few places left in Europe that hasn't been completely consumed by chaos. While the rest of Europe has collapsed into civil unrest, starvation, and violence, Ireland, along with Iceland and Norway, has somehow managed to hold on. Its government remains intact, and its people have largely been spared from the shortages and unrest devastating the rest of the continent. Ireland represents a slim chance at survival, and Mia and Nico are willing to risk everything to reach it. Nico, always the one with a plan, comes up with a desperate but potentially life-saving idea. They will be smuggled across the ocean in a shipping container. They'll hide inside it, hoping to slip through the cracks unnoticed and let a cargo ship take them to Ireland. The plan sounds risky, but it's the only choice they have. With the authorities cracking down on every form of escape, they know that this may be their last shot. But as they make their way to the container, things start to spiral out of control. The smugglers they'd trusted to help them betray them, pulling them apart at the last moment. Nico is forced out of the plan, and Mia is left alone, trapped inside the container, her heart racing as she realizes she has no one to turn to. The hours drag on in the suffocating dark of the container. It's hot, cramped, and claustrophobic, and Mia's mind races with thoughts of Nico. She tells herself that he'll be okay, that he's out there fighting for their future. But when the sound of soldiers' boots outside the container sends a cold shiver down her spine, Mia knows that the worst is about to happen. The military arrives at a checkpoint, their guns drawn, and in a brutal show of force they murder everyone in the container except Mia. With a surge of panic, Mia scrambles to hide on top of the crates. She holds her breath, praying that they won't find her. When the violence subsides, Mia is left alone in the container, surrounded by the bodies of the people who had once been her last hope. She's terrified, but she refuses to give up. The container is eventually loaded onto the ship, and Mia is carried out to sea, still trapped in the dark, sealed space. Her body aches with exhaustion, and fear gnaws at her every waking moment. She clings to the hope that somehow Nico has survived, and that they'll be reunited on the other side. But when she tries calling him, there's only silence. The realization that something has gone wrong creeps in, and Mia's heart sinks. She's alone, adrift in the middle of the vast ocean, and with every passing day, the possibility of ever seeing Nico again feels more and more like a distant dream. Just when Mia thinks things couldn't possibly get worse, a violent storm erupts. The ship is tossed around by huge waves, and Mia's container is thrown overboard, sinking fast into the dark, churning sea. Water floods in quickly, and Mia is forced to think fast. She uses the few items she can find: Tupperware, packaged earphones, some flat-screen TVs, bottles of vodka, and hoodies, to stay afloat. Among the chaos, she manages to find a drill, tape, and a penknife, which become her only tools in this desperate fight for survival. As the container sinks deeper into the sea, Mia hears screams from another nearby container. Desperate voices shout for help, and through a bullet hole in the metal, Mia peers into the other container, only to see another group of desperate survivors fighting for their lives in the rising water. It's a hopeless sight, and Mia can do nothing but watch. Yet, in the face of despair, Mia refuses to give in. She holds on to the one thing that might pull her through: hope. Every moment in the freezing water pushes her further, and she uses that willpower to fight for the chance to survive, even if it seems impossible. The days into a blur of exhaustion, hunger, and pain. Mia's body begins to fail her, and her mind starts to unravel as fatigue sets in. But no matter how weak she gets, no matter how much the storm beats her down, she can't stop. She can't give up, not when she has a child to protect, not when she's still carrying the memory of her lost daughter Uma. The guilt of losing Uma haunts her, and it's that very guilt that drives her to keep pushing. She has to survive, not just for herself, but for the child she's carrying, the child who will never know the world as it once was, but whose future still holds some hope. Amid the storm's fury, Mia feels a sudden surge of pain. Her body betrays her, but she knows immediately what's happening. She's in labor. She is giving birth to a little girl, Noah, and in that moment, everything changes. Noah is the reason Mia is still alive, the reason she fights to stay afloat. and the reason she pushes on when everything inside her screams for her to stop. But as the water continues to rise and the storm shows no signs of letting up, Mia is running out of time. Her body is battered and exhausted, and she can feel herself slipping, but she won't stop fighting. Using every ounce of strength she has left, Mia climbs to the roof of the container and punches a hole through it with the drill, hoping to escape the rising floodwaters. She pulls herself out into the wild, storm-lashed night, desperately signaling for help, but a deep cut to her leg makes it impossible for her to hold on much longer. She uses the vodka to clean the wound, and with the parts of the broken TVs, she stitches herself up, trying to stay alive long enough to make it through the storm. For what feels like an eternity, Mia is adrift in the sea, her body broken, her will stretched to its breaking point. Days pass, and Mia is barely clinging to life when, finally, she hears a faint signal on her radio. A voice she recognizes. It's Nico. His voice is weak, his words barely audible. He tells her that he's been shot, and that he doesn't have long to live. Mia's heart shatters as she listens, but in that moment she knows she can't stop. She tells Nico about Noah's birth, and though she can hear the pain in his voice, Nico urges her to stay strong, to fight for their daughter's future. His final words are a lifeline she holds on to as she drifts further from everything she's ever known. Mia doesn't give up, even when she is broken. When everything seems lost, she pushes on. She uses the remaining supplies in the container to build a makeshift raft, hoping that someone will find her. The endless ocean is her only hope now, and after what feels like forever, a fishing boat finally spots the raft, drifting in the middle of the vast sea. Mia, unconscious and barely alive, is brought aboard by the family on the boat, who perform CPR to bring her back to life. It's nothing short of a miracle. Mia and Noah are finally brought to Ireland, where they are safe at last. The journey has left Mia physically and emotionally shattered, but as she looks at Noah, her heart swells with a quiet peace. Ireland offers the promise of a fresh start, a chance to rebuild their lives. Mia knows that the scars of her journey will never fully fade, and that the memories of what she endured will stay with her forever. But for the first time in what feels like forever, Mia dares to imagine a future for herself, for Noah, and for whatever comes next. So which awesome movie should we recap next? Drop your suggestions in the comments below and let's make it happen. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button so you never miss out on our fun recaps. We've got plenty more coming your way. Thanks for watching and see you next time. Produced by Warner Talks.